up, guys? All right, so we're in Medellin, Colombia, and I'm by this beautiful park right now. Seeing all these lights got me thinking about the matrix of our reality, because as the year comes to a close, we all start thinking about 2024, and I'm going to tell you a couple things I've done recently to massively break the matrix of my own reality. Alright, so when it comes to thinking about the matrix of your reality, there have been three pillars that I came up with recently that control most of your reality's perception. Three pillars that you can fix perceptually by changing your thoughts. These three pillars are relationships, peer group, and the present. Now, when I talk about these three pillars, the reason why I found these so strong in terms of shifting your reality matrix is because many of us, when we think about changing our reality or shifting our reality, are stuck by tangible things, or what I call concrete things, like where we live or income. You know what I mean? Maybe our proximity to certain things that are good or bad. But at the end of the day, when you really think about it, the easiest things to change are the things that you think about. So let's go into it. Alright, so let's talk about the first pillar, which is relationships. Now, what you're gonna find in your life is that when you really think about it, if you're not in good relationships, you feel very alone in the world. And when you feel very alone in the world, the scale of the things that you try to accomplish become almost too big for you to handle. You don't have enough roots within yourself and the people around you to feel as if you can conquer, as if you can do other things. And a relationship to me doesn't mean that you have a significant other only. When I talk about relationships and the perception of it is, how alone do you feel in the pursuit of the things you're trying to achieve? And usually, in most of these books that you read about successful men and women, they always have a partner behind them who has helped them to rise to their true greatness, because once they realize that they're not alone, what they do is that they're more emboldened and more like they have a lot more power to go after what they want. Now, developing and improving your relationships doesn't take very long. One, you can seek out relationships. You can actually ask people to introduce you to people who may want to be in your life. Or you can simply strengthen the relationship you have by telling them the aim you have for strengthening the relationship. In other words, you can say to your friends, look man, I'm trying to feel a lot better about my life. Let's do more together. Let's be closer to each other. Let's be stronger and support each other. And that will then make you feel less alone in the pursuit of your future goals. And this is going to massively start shifting the first aspect of your reality breaking or matrix breaking. You know why? Because once you don't feel alone, you're going to take more action. And once you take more action, you're going to gain more momentum in your life. And you're going to find out that this shift is so powerful simply because you decided to look on the idea of relationships differently. That is the first pillar. Change your relationships, change how you feel about reality, feel less alone, be more emboldened to take steps towards things you want, and that starts to crack the glass of the matrix around you. That's part one. Alright, so the next pillar I want to talk about is called peer group. And I'm in Colombia right now as I'm recording this video, and it's very important to understand that before I came to Colombia, I understood that these three pillars were lacking severely in my life, right? Relationships, peer group, and what I call being in the present. You've heard that before, but I'm going to get into it, right? But a peer group is not just a group of your friends who, you know, represent like your insecurities and securities, and they know you for a long time. Your peer group to me are people around you that want you to win. They are here to support you, and they're like driven by the idea of your success. They wake up and when they think about you, they're like, I want him to win, or I want her to win, right? When I said in my life, when I was thinking about it the last 10, 15 years, I was like, who is my peer group? Who is my cheerleading squad? I mean, who is the person that literally sees me and wants me to get everything that's coming to me and is willing to say it to me? Now, don't get me wrong, you have your family and your friends and they believe in you and they want things for you, and I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a specific set of people that collectively want to rise you up, right? And this is usually not a family or a friend, because there's always more to friendships and family than just like the kind of peer group thing. This is why you have business masterminds and secret societies and lodges and those kind of things, because it's an energetic concept of leveling up the people around you, right? It's a very energetic thing. And what's interesting about the whole idea of peer group is that I came to Colombia knowing I didn't have these three pillars, and I said I want to build them and strengthen them, right? And since I've been here, I've definitely strengthened two. I've strengthened relationship, you know, My relationship has already gotten so much stronger with my sisters, and my mother, and some other people I've been contacting. And then with peer group, magically, I manifested some stuff. So I met a guy here at a show named Basmo. He invited me to his house, and on that day, we ended up having like 4 or 5 of us talk about life, our vulnerabilities as men, just our challenges. And I was like, yo, this is the peer group. And since I've been here for only just a month, my peer group has already put me in proximity to, like, as you've seen on the vlog, people own hotels and buildings and interesting places to raise my vibration and help me do other things. So when you're thinking now of breaking your matrix, you have to ask yourself, do I have a peer group that wants me to win? Do I have a set of people around me that energetically want to raise my vibration up to the point where I'm going to be so successful I can help them? And this is not something that you seek, it's something that you know. You get me? And I realized that, one, if you feel very alone in your life, if you feel like nobody's around you to support you, you're going to feel very small. And feeling small means that you don't aim for big things, right? When you have a peer group around you, and you have somebody supporting your relationship, whether it's a friend or a significant other, what's going to start to happen is that you're going to mimic their actions, you're going to mimic their thoughts, you're going to want what they want, and you're going to want what they want for you because you want it for yourself. You wanting something for yourself is very different when it's amplified by 5 or 10 core people who really want you to win. And I realized that I need a peer group in my life because with all the things I've done, writing books, making videos, traveling, working on big brand campaigns, all these kind of things, I'm doing it by myself and it's good, but you don't have your team rallying for you. You don't have somebody asking you, yo, what's the next campaign you're gonna work on? What's the next place you're trying to go to? What's the next thing you're trying to do for you, my friend? We want you to win. You need your peer group. You need your sounding board. You need those people roaring and screaming behind you saying you can do it, right? And I said I want to create that because if I create that, my entire reality is going to change because the perception of the people closest around me are all going to be fueling my advanced perspective. And again, the wall of the matrix is going to crack. That's part 2. Alright, so let's talk about staying in the present. Look around me, I'm walking through El Poblado in a place called Parqueyeras, which is full of like discotheques and clubs, and it's early, like everything hasn't started yet, you know? But one of my missions when I came to Medellin was to be completely in the present, to focus only on what I'm doing for my day to day. Because you see, there's a great concept to learn from a guy named Sadhguru. What Sadhguru said was, he said that most of us as human beings live in one of 3 states. We either live in a past filled with pain and regret that we can't ever change, that influences all our future decisions. Or 2, we live in a future filled with scary and violent and dark and dangerous outcomes that we will never experience or may never experience. 99% of humanity spends the majority of their time in one of these 2 states. They're either focused on a past that they can't change with actions that happen that they can never fix because you can't go back in the past. But everything they do in the future is influenced by everything that happens in the past. They don't want to try that business opportunity. They don't want to talk to that girl because, you know, of what happened in the past. They don't want to like chase after this thing, try and travel, try and do something different, chase the business idea or the concept or whatever it is. They don't do it because they're living in the past, or in the future they're like, well, if I do these things, these other things may happen. I may lose all my money. I may get rejected. You know, I may not find what I'm seeking. And these 2 states are not being in the present, but they can control the entire reality. But if you're in the present, what starts to happen is that everything you do is focused, it's right in front of your eyes, and it's very clear what you need to do. Because if you focus on the past or the future, which you can't control, what you're going to realize after a while is that you really don't have control over many things that you're trying to do. You don't have control. But what you do have control over is how you look at the present. And if you focus more on the present, what starts to happen is that your matrix starts to shift. You start to realize how much is actually within your control once you put your present focus on it. If you're trying to meet somebody, if you're trying to do something, if you're trying to go somewhere and it's in your present focus, it becomes massively amplified. You start to just do all these things that you couldn't do or wouldn't do before. You start to meet people and have interactions that you could never have because you're in the present. If I was here in Medellin saying to myself, oh, I don't know anybody here so I can't do anything, or I don't know these millionaires I've been talking to, or these people that own hotels, or these people that have done amazing and crazy things in their lives. If I said to myself, I'm not on their level, I can't talk to them, in the past I've tried to do this, it didn't work out. If I told myself that, if I wasn't in the present, then I wouldn't be having these interviews. I wouldn't be doing all of the amazing things I've done. Being in the present allows me to focus and dial in on what needs to be done. And these three things all add up to shatter the matrix you've created for yourself. Real talk. And the way the matrix is shattered is because once these three pillars are gone, these three pillars, which are basically all perceptual pillars, right? Having relationships or believing you can have a relationship is a perceptual thing. It requires realizing that you're good enough, you're worthy enough. How much time do you actually spend trying to meet people? How much time do you actually spend with your friends, like talking about stuff other than work and like boring stuff, How much time do you spend trying to build it? Is your focus present and dialed in on what you want? You know what I'm saying? Or are you focused on the past girlfriend, the past failure, the past thing that didn't work out for you, right? And when you talk about like other aspects of shattering the matrix, who's your peer group? Who's rooting for you? Who wants you to win? Even if it's like some people you make up, maybe you don't have the friends right now, maybe you don't have the peer group, right? But can you build it? Can you create a society of your own? Can you create like a group or have a brunch or have a creative link up or a business link up or a mingle or something? Can you pull the people around you that eventually would be the warriors that rally for you? The answer is yes. And can you imagine your life if that's happening, right? Your life is going to change. And this is why I'm saying breaking the matrix to me starts with these three pillars and kind of shattering them, because they're the way you look at things. It has nothing to do with how much money you have or your income or who you're with or if you're alone or if you're sad. It's literally, how can I do things to look at my life completely different? You feel me? And then lastly, am I in the present? Am I dialed in? Because I've gone through the concepts and I've explained the concepts. And what I want you to understand is that by implementing these kind of things is how I've had such massive momentum since coming to Medellin, right? My sister was saying it to me like in one of her phone conversations. She's like, how do you do what you do? It's almost impossible, Coming to a brand new city, integrating with networks, doing all these like crazy things without planning for it, I'm not like an egomaniac, I'm not like arrogant. I don't go everywhere and think I'm the center of attention, like I'm the person that controls everything. But I understood when I came here that I had to try and fix these three pillars in my life, and that I had time and space in this place to attempt to do that. You all know the book called Eat, Pray, Love, right? And in Eat, Pray, Love, I don't remember the name. Her name is Elizabeth something, but she goes on a trip around the world and she eats food and she meditates in an ashram, and she eventually finds love, which is what she was seeking at the start of the book, right? And this is almost like an Eat, Pray, Love trip for me in terms of a perceptual kind of thing. I mean, I didn't come here looking for like love necessarily. I didn't come here looking for like specific kinds of things, but I definitely came here seeking to learn more about myself and to really train being in the present. And it's been amazing the things that have happened. My whole reality matrix has been completely broken, right? It's only 3 weeks ago I was feeling like a completely different person, and I've kind of like emerged like Neo in the chamber when he comes out and sees everybody in the pods, and he's like, where am I? Is this reality? So reality is what you make it, and this is my thought on how you shatter your own reality matrix with those three pillars. All right, you don't know, the name is Birdimus, Marcus Bird, aka Birdimus. If you haven't, like and subscribe. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna do more videos like this in the near future, you see me? But that's just one of those thoughts I wanted to share with y'all before our night begins. Boom!